Hey everyone. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to answer another question that I received in my Q&A video a few days ago. This is another question, like the Star Tours question I got, that really deserved its own video. So let's dig right in. I'm going to go ahead and read you the question, which came from Ancast25. Ancast is asking, how viable is it for Disney to purchase property surrounding the Disneyland Resort for future expansion? Okay, Ancast, I think it's extremely viable. I think Disney definitely has the resources, obviously, to do so. I think they have the enough clout with the city of Anaheim to work something out like that. And not only do I think it's viable, I think it's necessary. Okay, because when you really look at the map, there's not a whole lot of room to work with. Once they fix Tomorrowland, expand Fantasyland, and build Marvel Land over at California Adventure, there's not a whole lot of real estate to grow in. Okay, so I wouldn't say that Disney needs to start looking at a third park within the next 5 years. I think they have more time than that for sure, but I would say 10, 15, maybe 20 years at the most, Disney's really going to have to start looking outside of the two parks. Okay, so this is something that they're really going to have to do. If the Disneyland Resort wants to continue to grow and have physical growth, they're going to have to start looking outside of those two parks. And they're going to have to do it fairly soon because there's, like I said, after Tomorrowland and after fixing Fantasyland and Marvel Land at California Adventure, there's not a whole lot of real estate on the map left. Now, many years ago, Disney bought a 100-acre strawberry field, and they hung on to it for a while, and ultimately they built the Toy Story parking lot on that strawberry field. I am assuming any third park, any third gate for Disneyland Resort would go in that Toy Story parking lot. They're going to build the Eastern Gateway Project, which is the parking structure, behind the McDonald's and the IHOP and all that. They're going to have that structure probably open in a couple of years, hopefully before Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So I think once that's built, they can start to really look at some ideas and concepts as to what to do with the Toy Story lot. So yeah, this is something that Disney's going to have to look at. This is something that is looming on the horizon. It's not something that needs to be done, like I said, like in a few years. But it's definitely something that they're going to have to start really looking into if they want long-term growth at this resort. At Disneyland, we do not have the blessing of size. We are really landlocked and we don't have a whole lot of room. And once these problem areas are essentially fixed, they're just going to have to start looking outside those two parks for major growth. And that's really the only way to do it. So they got the Toy Story lot, which they can build a third gate. And then many years after that, then Disney can start looking at other areas that they can maybe buy up a bunch of hotels and kind of get enough land where they can maybe even build a fourth gate. Who knows? But that's going to be the future of the resort. They're going to have to start doing that. I mean, one way or the other. If they don't do that, then the only way they can grow and expand is if they start taking out rides and attractions and replacing them with other rides and attractions, which they could feasibly do that. But the problem with that is that you get a resort that feels very temporary. Nothing feels like it's there for very long. So I mentioned this in my Pixar Pier video. That's one of my big concerns with retheming that pier so many times. Everything feels so temporary because it's just constantly changing. And I really hope Disney doesn't go down that road. I hope they would just look outside those two parks and build a third park or in a fourth park if they have to, and go that route and keep Disneyland and California Adventure stable in the sense where they're not just removing and adding. So those are my thoughts on, how viable is it for Disney to purchase land outside of the resort. I know this is a really interesting topic, and I want everyone to comment on this. What do you guys think? What's the future of the Disneyland Resort in terms of growth? Is it like what I said, where you need a third park, you need to start looking outside of those two parks? Or do you disagree with me? Do you think the future is in those two parks and they're just going to have to work around it and just take away things and add things that way? So let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Like, subscribe. I do Disney content all the time. And as always, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.